Hey yo, what's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm gonna hit y'all with a review of the new Millyz album entitled Blanco IV. Let's get to it. Alright, so Millyz is a white rapper coming out of Cambridge, Massachusetts. So if you are someone who thinks there are no white rappers with street credibility, then Millyz is here to prove you wrong because he's the closest thing to if Tommy Egan from Power could step into a vocal booth. Yes, there are some hood white dudes out there, and Millyz is definitely one of them. Now, he's been putting in work since the mid 2010s, and this new project is the fourth installment from his Blanco series, which began back in 2018. Millyz has collaborated frequently with artists like The Lox and Dave East. He is signed to Jadakiss's So Raspy label, I believe, and he also recently put out the collaborative EP with Dave East entitled Pablo and Blanco. So this new full-length album, Blanco IV, contains 17 tracks and lasts approximately 44 minutes. The features include Jadakiss, Asian Doll, G Herbo, Benny the Butcher, Jazzy Amra, Dada the Dealer, Wyatt Jizzle, and 8-Zip. But with that being said, let me go ahead and hit y'all with this track-by-track breakdown. The opener, Trap Pacino, finds Millyz reflecting on his upbringing and his street ties over a ghostly instrumental. He raps, "Only white boy in my neighborhood, that shit wasn't easy," and "I grew up knocking M, but it's not an imitation. We speak the same language, just a different conversation." Altogether, it's a strong opener that sets an introspective street tone. Track 2, Hopeless, has Millyz joined by Mr. Raspy himself, the versus champ, Jadakiss. The two MCs turn inward to reflect on pain and trauma. This is set to a chill and atmospheric beat that almost resembles recent Heatmaker's production, although it's not a Heatmaker's beat. Millyz states, "A lot of rappers richer than me, but did shit with less skill, so I knew I could get on quicker if I kept it less real," while Jada hits us with some OG talk. "See me, I'm from the put in work era. I was sliding way before that syrup and perk era." It's another dope track. Song 3, Fish Tank, is a moody trap banger, which features a charismatic and high energy verse from Asian Doll. I really like the energy that she brought to this record. Then on Phases, we get more of this trap style production, but this one has Spanish guitars and horns. I guess you could say this has a plug rap kind of aesthetic. Content wise, this has way more floss talk than the previous ones, but it's still a solid song. On the following track, Emotions, Millyz and G Herbo speak on living the trenches lifestyle over a wailing soul beat with some somber keys. The two share a bond as Millyz reflects back to opening for G Herbo in 2016. Now, Herbo talks about the trauma that he has endured from street life, which has made it hard for him to smile and even laugh the same. Next is Benny Blanco, which features Benny the Butcher. This is set to a high-pitched soul sample with heavy bass and rattling hi-hats. You can feel the pain in the sample. Millyz had a dope verse, but it was Benny who I thought came through with the most thoughtful lines. He rapped, "If you don't do nothing else, then just believe these quotes. These rules you can live by, not just some things we wrote." Right after, Millyz breaks up the pace with a relationship record entitled Trust Me. This has a syrupy, smooth synth beat with sparkling keys. As far as relationship and love records go, this one is pretty decent. I can't say it's a favorite, but he didn't drop the ball or make it corny, and I feel that the singer Jazzy Amra did her thing as well. What follows is Cold Sweats. This has a somber piano backdrop with a faint vocal harmony. It finds Millyz speaking on past traumas and losses like, "I was 15 when Mecca died on me, had me zoning at the wake, I couldn't cry, homie." Then he makes another comparison to Eminem, except he's the more gangsta version. He raps, "She said I look like M, but got a Pac demeanor. You know that street shit could touch you like a heart procedure." The following, High Beans, is easily my least favorite song on the project. Now, it's not actually a bad song, but the emo trap production and the slight auto-tune didn't appeal much to me. In fairness, his singing isn't awful, but it's probably not one that I'm gonna revisit. The pace picks back up with Off-White Sweater. This is an eerie trap banger that's aggressive. With a catchy hook, Millyz raps, "Go against the family is genocide. The same neighborhood we warred for is now gentrified." The next song, Cantaloupe, also has darker and menacing production. This is just one verse, no hook. Some standout lines include, "Got crosses on my face, but I couldn't go the church route. Killed them by success, but I'm about to bring a hearse out." The pace slows down slightly on track 12, Duffel. The production is softer, chill, and more atmospheric, but there is the Detroit style bass. This features a solid verse from Dada the Dealer, who I've never heard before, but he did all right. All in all, it's a solid song, just not one I love. What follows is Lost Innocence featuring Y Jizzle. This has another laid back piano beat with gentle guitars and faint background vocals, like something you would hear Polo G or Lil Durk rap over. Millyz talks about losing his innocence as a result of growing up in the trenches. There's a half-sung hook from Millyz who talks about parkies and amphetamines. Consequently, it sounded a bit generic if I'm keeping it a buck. Although I did like the following Millyz lyrics. "Talking to my bro, he feel low. I know depression hurt, and where I'm from, they skip out on a rent to get a necklace first." The verse from Y Jizzle was okay, as he talked about his desire to play in the kitchen instead of playing sports. Track 14, American Bully, is a highlight. Here we get some chipmunk soul over booming 808s. Millyz comes through with some deep introspection with, "Falling out of love, I had to go and cut my feelings off, dulling my emotions. I was so consumed. I used this paper as a bandage for my open wound." Now, it is at this point in the album where the following three songs all sound the same sonically for me. I suppose they're not bad tracks individually, but the subject matter and the Lil Durk and Polo G style depressing beats became quite repetitive. On track 15, Invisible, Millyz admits to self-medicating to deal with pain and loss. I feel his guest feature 8-Zip delivered a solid enough verse. Track 16, Sharks, has an instrumental that sounds very similar to the previous song. On the hook, Millyz does some melodic crooning, which doesn't sound bad, but I'm unlikely to spin back the block on this one. The album ends with RLS, which stands for Real Life Shit. This is set to a laid back and melancholy backdrop. And Millyz mentions every unhealthy substance he uses to cope with the pain. Stuff like cigarettes, Hennessy, and Percocets. And God, I wish all the Percocet talk would be eliminated from hip hop entirely. It gets so repetitive and it's really dangerous for the youth to always have to hear. Overall, I give this album a rating of 3.5 mics. I feel this project started off really strong and there are a lot of good songs in the first to middle portion of the album, but I noticed towards the last leg of the project, it is where many of the beats became indistinguishable from one another. Topically and lyrically, some of Millyz's themes also began to sound alike as well, like they were parts of just one long-ass depressing song. It just came across as overkill for me. I feel that if Millyz could have eliminated like 4 to 5 tracks, this would have been a 4-mic album. And I'm not saying that these songs are necessarily whack, but some just register clearly as filler. That being said, I feel Millyz gets quite a bit right on this album. His choruses are pretty strong. The bars are there. He is able to give you some substance and depth. His flow and cadence are pretty strong. He's got a decent enough ear for beats, and I don't find his music to be sleepy, and I'm not bored by his delivery. At the end of the day, I respect the work that Millyz has been putting in, and I definitely recommend you check out this project if you like this particular lane of street introspective rap, especially coming from a white rapper who has a relatable story. My favorite tracks include Trap Pacino, Hopeless, Fish Tank, Emotions, Benny Blanco, Cold Sweats, Off-White Sweater, and American Bully. Let me know what you thought about this album in the comment section below. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Millyz, Blanco IV, 1.